Good morning and welcome to Homepage, a public affairs feature of 93.7 K Country and Wind FM 92.5, 95.5, and 107.9. I'm Kathy Dugan, and my guest this morning is Major Dwayne Durham, Corps Officer for the Salvation Army in Ocala. Welcome.
Thank you, Kathy, for having me. I'm so grateful to be here and the opportunity.
We're grateful to have you. Now, I understand that you and Marion, Major Marion,
Yes.
Both grew up in the Salvation Army.
We did, actually, yes.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Well, Salvation Army, some people may not know, is actually a part of the church, the Universal Christian Church. And so, as such, some of us grow up in that, just like people grow up in the Methodist Church or the Baptist or Pentecost or whatever it is. And so both my wife and I did do that. I grew up in it in the Midwest, Illinois, Iowa, in that area, and then moved to Kentucky. My wife grew up in it in different places because her parents were Salvation Army officers, which means that she moved around a little bit. And,
Wow.
It's about an average 4 to 5 year appointment that officers receive whenever they are going to whatever location. And so she was just around the southern United States, Texas and Mississippi and Atlanta. And in Georgia is where we met. She came to Athens, Georgia. Go Dogs.
I know you did. Yes, you did. I love it.
I know. I'm in the different territory.
Yeah, that's okay, though.
Anyway, forgive me, but, I'm from there. So
Don't
anyway,
forgive you.
I'm from Athens, Georgia, and my wife came to be the Christian Education Director for the Salvation Army church part of what we do. And so that's where we met. But the Salvation Army as a whole, as we'll get into here in a little bit, is much broader than that. And I will say this, the founder, William Booth, did not necessarily intend for the Salvation Army to be a church.
Okay.
Now, he was a Methodist minister in London, England, and that's where things got started. And he was out on the street preaching. They did open-air meetings, and that's how things started. He was noticing how there was so much, way back in the late 1860s, there was so much poverty, and it was really, really bad in the East End of London, England. And so that's where the Salvation Army got its start. And so he was noticing all of this, people just, trying to escape the things that are going on in their life,
right?
The adversity, with mostly back then it was alcohol, so a lot of drinking involved, and unfortunately, the heavy drinking, and that caused a lot of issues. But then there was also just the abject poverty that existed back then. Was causing people, there was a lot of suicides. There's just a lot of, we experience it today.
Right.
And there's much that I see in parallel from today as opposed to when the Salvation Army got its start back in the 1800s. So he was trying to, William Booth and his wife, Catherine, help people. They started a mission called the East End London Mission, and they were feeding people. Mostly is what they were doing, feeding, probably clothing back then. And then he was seeing that, and they were, because of the faith aspect. Trying to introduce people to Jesus, basically.
Correct.
That's part of what we do. Preaching the good news of Jesus Christ. So they were trying to help people to have that relationship with Jesus, and they would send them to churches, and unfortunately, some of these churches weren't accepting folks that had just come out of that situation.
Oh, wow.
And if they did accept them, they put them in a certain place in the church.
Oh, it's like, you go over there.
So you know what? William Booth and Catherine said, if they're not going to take them, we'll take them. And so that's how the worship services and the church part, if you will, began with the Salvation Army. So really the social piece, but it's all integrated. It's social, helping people get back on their feet and just meeting those human needs. And we say in our mission statement, meeting human needs in Jesus' name, and of course without discrimination. It doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter what your background.
Wow.
That's us. So.
Wow, I love that. And what good people to start this. Now, tell me about the time that you have served with the Salvation Army before coming to Ocala.
Yeah, so my wife and I both entered the training college at the same time because we were married. What was interesting about that personally is she was scheduled to start a year before we actually did. And our personal story is that we became friends, and then actually in ministry together at the Salvation Army, especially with youth work, working with kids, and also in worship. I play brass instrument. She sings.
Nice.
And so we were doing that, and we just fell in love, you know.
Aww.
And so you know how that happens.
I love those stories.
So she is awesome. Actually, I told her, I said, "This is your gig. You should be doing this because she's so good at it." But she was supposed to go to the training college for the Salvation Army officers a year before we actually did. So, long story short, is we married, and then a year later went into the training college, and we were commissioned. It's a 2-year training experience for folks who are to become officers. Somebody might say, "Well, how do you do that? How do you become an officer?" And the answer is, it's a calling by God.
Wow.
I don't just say, "Hey, I'm going to go apply for a job as a Salvation Army officer." God calls people to that, and He called me and my wife. And I will tell you this: I really didn't want to.
Really?
Oh yeah, I didn't want to. And there are different reasons for that, which I won't really go into, except for to say, I finally surrendered and said, "Okay, God, I'm going to do this." And, you know, there's some difficult days or some days when it's like, and I'll say, here's what I did before I went to training to be an officer. I drove a forklift for a living.
Okay.
On a shipping dock, right? So that's what I did. And my wife, as I said, was a Christian education director. And so there are some days when I was like, why can't I just drive a forklift?
Right.
You know, picking up pallets, load them in trucks, you know.
Simple.
Anyway, but you know what? Salvation Army's actually given me opportunities for that too. Where we're doing disaster work and I need to load a truck or unload a truck.
They've got you. You know what to do.
Yeah, I know what to do. But so we entered and we in 1995, and then we were commissioned in 1997, and so 22 years is how long we've been officers in the Salvation Army. And just to share with the listeners, we have varied appointments in the Salvation Army. Some are administrative because you have to have administrative things going on. We here in the South have our headquarters for the territory, USA Southern Territory, in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
And that's also where our training college for officers is. And we because of all the business aspect of what we have to do, it's a corporation. It's incorporated because of that.
That makes sense.
So there's a board of not directors, but I'll think of it in a minute. But, there is a board that oversees things, a governing board.
Okay.
And then there's different levels of that. We have one here in Florida as well. And those things are necessary, to be able to avoid, doing things or entering into agreements and partnerships that we really shouldn't, or that are not beneficial or not part of, would not suit our mission also. Right. There are many times when that structure has helped us avoid some poor decisions of, enter into things. So that's, the structure of the Salvation Army. Then we also have our international headquarters in London, England, and also a national headquarters in Alexandria, Virginia. So it's, let's see, I think we're in just over 130 countries now.
That's incredible. Have you been to other countries?
Actually, I have. And let's see, the first one that I went to with the Salvation Army was actually right before my wife and I went to training. We were asked to go to the Republic of Georgia.
Oh, wow.
Tbilisi. And guess how they say in that language? It's called the Khartouli language, I believe. If there's any Georgians listening, I may have messed that up. But anyway, So the way they say Salvation Army in their language,
Yeah.
Shnish Armia. Shnish Armia.
I can't even do it.
I know.
Snish Armia.
Anyway, so
Wow.
so that was a great experience. It was a summer mission trip that we took there. Just we met some incredible people. It was awesome, and it was right after it was 1994, summer of, or was no, I'm sorry, it was summer of 1995. Yeah, because it was right before we went to training, and so met some incredible people. It was right after things happened with the fall of the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, there at that point in time, people were having to sell off their possessions because they couldn't make ends meet. We had translators who were college professors.
Oh my gosh.
And just settling for, kind of meager pay to make ends meet.
Oh, that's
but
sad.
Some wonderful, awesome people there. So yeah, the Republic of Georgia was my first experience. I've been to just over the border in Mexico.
Uh-huh.
Let's see, where else have I been?
A lot of culture shock, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's different.
Yeah.
It's different. I went to, we were helping the Salvation Army, part of a brass band years ago. Back in 2003, I went to the St. Vincent and the Grenadine Islands, St. Vincent and the Grenadine, which was, is in the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of interesting because off in the distance in the water, we saw this colonial-looking ship, and we were like, "What's going on there?"
Yeah.
It was when they were filming the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh my goodness,
that was pretty cool. I never met anybody on the,
that's still cool,
cast,
though.
but that was okay. But so that was a pretty neat experience as well. And one day this is kind of interesting. We were doing an open air meeting outside, playing and sharing a message, and this guy. In running gear came running by us.
Yeah.
And somebody whispered to us, he said, "That's our one Olympian."
They have an Olympian.
They had an Olympian, and they were getting ready for the, 2006 Olympics, I guess it was.
Now, I know you guys really, really rely on the volunteers, especially during the holidays. Red Kettle Kickoff just happened, and you can go online and actually volunteer for that, or they could probably contact you.
That's right. You can go to registertoring.com, and you'll type in your location, which, of course, would be Ocala, or you can even look for zip code, and then it will shoot you to all of our locations.
Sure.
We have be able to register. I think it's about 23 that people can go to and see. If it's closer to your home or wherever. And we have a few great groups that take a whole season or several weeks in this season, which really helps us for a certain location. And that's what we're looking more and more for is groups that can cover a site. That way you've got one coordinator of that group, and then they're beating the bushes to get their volunteers to cover that site. But individuals can do it as well. There are 2-hour increments on each of the locations that are available. And our concern, though, is to make sure that each one of those 2-hour increments is covered throughout the day, because there's certain places we really shouldn't leave a kettle unattended anywhere. But so it wouldn't be good to have 2 hours one time and then we have to rush out and put that kettle away and then bring it back out 2 hours later. That's a little cumbersome. So we really need those hours covered.
Yes,
let me put it on thick here, people. I really need bell ringers out there ringing the bell. And those bells are annoying. Some of the people at the stores are like, "Oh man, it's bell ringing season. Those stupid bells are going to."
No.
But guess what? The need is there. The need is great. And you would think that the economy being better, it wouldn't be as much. But we're finding that's not the case. No. You still have people, especially with housing issues, trying to make ends meet. It's just a tough go sometimes. And so that's why we're out there ringing that bell. That's interesting how that got started, too. The bell ringing started with this guy. He wasn't a bell ringer. He was an officer in the Salvation Army. He was trying to just provide, it was either Christmas or Thanksgiving meal, I can't remember, San Francisco. He put this big iron pot out on the docks where these guys were working. And it was just big open kettle. And, asking for donations. And then years later, when we got the tripods and the smaller kettles and all that, this one lady was just standing there. She was a cadet. She was training to be an officer, and she was like, this just isn't working. I need something to get people's attention. She went to the dime store, got a little bell, and that's how the actual bell ringing got started.
Oh,
I think
my
it was
gosh.
1940 something. Right?
That's incredible. And the Red Kettle started in 1891. Captain Joseph McPhee was the guy who did it. I did a little research.
Done your research,
Did a
Kathy?
little bit of research. But you guys do so much great stuff. What I love is when people are out and they're ringing the bell and they have their kids with them.
Oh, yeah.
And the kids have such a great sense of accomplishment and joy because they're watching people donate. They're learning something important by being there.
That's right. When you're teaching your kids about giving, philanthropy and, needs that are out there in the community, and that you are showing them, that there are needs and that you can help meet those needs as someone who can, and it can be as simple as ringing a bell. And you're just, and the ringing of the bell is just alerting people to the fact that there is need.
Of course, and the kids really love ringing the bell.
Oh yeah. Let me tell you something. I'm trying to work with this year. Mm-hmm. Last year, I saw during the bell ringing season a video online of our counterparts, Salvation Army, in Lexington, Kentucky. They had this bell ringing horse named Hank.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I looked at the video, I'm like, why are we doing that? See, they call themselves the horse capital of the world.
No, we are.
Yeah, well,
we are.
Let's prove it.
Let's prove it. Oh.
Let's have a bell ringing horse competition or something. I'm trying to work that kind of thing out. The details are still in working out. But.
Even those little, like the therapy ponies that you see.
I think it'd be
a
fun.
blast. Oh my gosh.
And I'm not sure how much money Hank the horse has raised in his, bell ringing, but so it'd be fun to do something like that here.
It would, yeah.
In the horse capital of the world.
That's right. If you're listening online in Kentucky, you're not the horse capital. We are.
I love you.
Yes, absolutely. And what now with the Red Kettle? Where does that money go? What does that help? What does that do?
So not only does it help us with supplying the needs during the holiday season. We have food to purchase. We have in some cases, the toys to purchase. Although we're trying to ask people to adopt angels and then buy those items. Angel tree. Then that can happen there, and then the other funding can be used not only in feeding programs. But as I was saying earlier, trying to meet people's needs every day.
Sure.
Through our sheltering programs, because that's a very expensive
There's a lot of overhead.
Ordeal, yes, to shelter folks. I was just told, we're needing some towels and sheets and blankets and things like that. As you might know, some people, they might think they're theirs to keep and they take them away.
Well, I'm sure they do.
Then we're like, okay, we need more. So we're funding our everyday program also and services with those funds, and which stay right here in Marion County and in Ocala. So, when you're giving, I have to tell you, I was a little interested a few years ago in another appointment I was at. There's a group out in front of a store, raising money, and I was. It was one of the stores that we do, and I was like, okay, I want to research them a little bit because I've never heard of them.
Okay.
So I was like, and then I saw that they were from somewhere else, which I understand. You're trying to raise money, but
sure.
Well, people need to know that when you're giving to that kettle, it's staying in your community to help the people right there in your community. So.
And the same thing with the angel tree. I'm familiar with angel tree. I know a lot of people aren't. It's fantastic, in my opinion. Tell everybody what that's about.
So I think it was back in the 70s. There was a Salvation Army couple, and they were stationed in Virginia at the time. And it used to be we would do what we call like a toy shop. Mm-hmm. So you would set all these toys, and the families could come around and shop for just different toys for their children. And then it dawned on people, that Salvation Army folks, that we're not necessarily really meeting their needs. I mean, yes, these are toys that's fun for the kids and everything,
right.
But we're seeing kids that don't have clothes or don't, have the right kind
basic
of clothes.
Necessities. I mean, even like underwear.
Yeah,
I mean,
So that's part of how the Angel Tree got started. So you take you put all the or not some of the information without any of with still being confidential.
Mm-hmm.
The age and the gender and clothing size, those type of things. And then we ask the families to say, hey, give them the opportunity for modest. We don't want to go too wild with their wishes for toys, things like that. So they have the opportunity to put that on those tags. So we put those tags on different angel trees. Mm-hmm. And that could look like, you're not even actually having a tree. You just hand out tags to the people in your office or at your church or whatever. But it is kind of fun to have the tree, and then you pick one off.
I know the Marion County School Board does that. They have one.
So I met a guy the other day who brought some things. He says, last year I did a boy. This year I chose to do a girl, and it's just a great way for people to be involved, and they're going out and doing the shopping. Now we do ask for people not to wrap the gifts.
Okay.
There's two reasons for that. One, we want to make sure the size is appropriate for the clothes.
Gotcha.
And it's an age appropriate and gender appropriate toy, if you will.
Yeah.
Some of those are interchangeable, but and a totally appropriate toy, basically.
Well, sure.
And then the other reason is we like to give the families, the moms and dads, the opportunity to have the joy of wrapping those for their kids.
That
too.
is part of the fun.
Of it. But so those are things that that's how we do that, and we have to do the registration early in October for folks so that we can get that information out to the public so that they can be doing that. So right now, if folks are in need, there are other organizations that haven't registered with us. We point them to other organizations that are also helping as well. So
that's fantastic. I love the Angel Tree. One of our artists, Jimmy Wayne.
Yeah.
You know who Jimmy Wayne is. Jimmy Wayne
wrote
the song about the Angel Tree because he grew up in foster care. Mm-hmm. And it meant so much to him that he had to write a song about it and let people know what it's all about. Yeah. That's how important the Angel Tree and how much of an impact it makes on people. And you look at somebody like Jimmy Wayne, who is a country artist now, and he came from nothing. He had nothing. Yeah. And through the help of the Salvation Army's Angel Tree, I mean, he was able to see the good in people.
It never ceases to amaze me, the impact that, something like that has on people. And then you never know, somebody like Jimmy Wayne, gets that platform and that opportunity to give back in a huge way.
Such a big way. And it's hard for people who have things to fathom those that don't, and just how much one little thing means, especially to a child. Something so small means so much. So anything that you can do with the help of the Angel Tree. Angel Trees are all over here, all over our area. Yep. And you can just you pick one of them off. You go, okay, I am going to go shopping. And it's fun, too, because I have a boy. Mm-hmm. So, I'm used to shopping for a boy. But you pick a girl off the tree, you're like, oh, it's a girl. It's so much fun. I can go shop for a girl or vice versa. Yeah. So it's something that's going to bring you joy to know that you're bringing somebody else joy. Yeah. And it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. You have holiday meals and programs going on, so people are getting fed.
The same people that are in our Angel Tree program that we're assisting also get a food box. At Thanksgiving, they get a turkey and then all the trimmings,
Yay.
In that. And that distribution happens next week. And then also a Christmas box as well. So we just figure, while they're signing up for Christmas, they're going to need Thanksgiving too. So
they will,
do that. And then we also have, we feed at our feeding program 365 days a year, twice a day. But we really make it special on Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving Day. And that there are people who really enjoy serving. And so we have a lot of volunteers that day, and it's really fun. It's really great. And then not as much on Christmas, but still Christmas is a special day. And so we make that special as well.
That is so wonderful. All the fantastic work that you do. Now, for volunteer opportunities, Shirley's still your volunteer coordinator.
Shirley, yeah.
Yeah, and you can reach Shirley at 352-629-2004. She's extension 306. and she can get you right out there. She can get you helping right away.
Yeah, and I can give you an even more direct number to get to her. You don't even have to keep pressing those buttons.
Ooh.
Just happened, 352-421-9437. Shirley Hugh.
Go straight to Shirley, and she can get you helping with the volunteering. You can also go online so that you can get in with the kettle drive. I love the red kettles. Those are wonderful. And just all the wonderful work that you do. Do you have any special events that you have coming up that you want to talk about?
Let's see, special events. We're not really here locally, except for me trying to do the horse bell ringing thing. That's
right. The horse. We're working on that.
Still working. But we have, let me share this with you. We're in the, you would understand this in the industry. We're in a market that includes Orlando, television.
Sure.
And Channel 6 in Orlando. And our counterparts, Salvation Army officers in Orlando, work very closely there. So we have, pretty much the benefit of that TV market that Orlando has. And so Giving Tuesdays, first Tuesday of December, I think it's December 3rd, is a telethon going on, Angel Tree Telethon going on at Channel 6 in Orlando.
Wow.
And so we're looking for volunteers to go down and go over and man those phones to help us with that. And then the monies that are raised through that, if they're from Ocala, if they want it to be for Ocala, Marion County, that will come to us to help folks as well. So that's one event that is coming up.
And they can call Shirley and get in on this to volunteer.
That's right.
Give me that number again.
And then we're working on, it's 352-421-9437. And then we have a van that'll be going as well if somebody needs transportation that we coordinate with. So
that is fantastic. You just do such wonderful work and help so many people, and we appreciate it. As a community, we appreciate it.
And we do need help on the distribution day and Christmas, which I believe is December 19th. It's a Friday. We tried to pick one that the schools were out because we have help from school folks.
That's wonderful.
Unfortunately, with the hurricane stuff happening and they had to delay, they're going to be in school that day, whatever that Friday is. It's either the 19th or 20th.
It's the 20th.
Thank you.
I had to think about it. And I only remember it because it's my anniversary.
I usually have a calendar right in front of me. But, so anyway, that's an opportunity because what we do is we have people with shopping carts that go with the families, and then they go through and they'll get the items that they that people have adopted and shopped for them for, and then they'll go get the food. And then if there's any other, different things that have been donated to give, we'll do that too. So, and then I and a few others will just share the good news with them and just, encourage them as they come in and have them relax a little bit before they go and get their toys and their food. So.
Oh, that's incredible. So much fabulous work that you do, and we do appreciate it. Once again, thank you so much, Major Dwayne Durham, Corps Officer with the Salvation Army. We loved having you here today.
Well, thank you for reaching out to me. I love being here. And what's funny?
Yeah.
When I was in high school, I wanted to be a DJ.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah. I don't know how good I would have been, but
You sounded great today.
Well, thank you so much.
We're working on getting that horse.
Yeah, bell ring horse. I am working on that in the community with some folks. So
well, hopefully,
hope that works out. That'd be
some
fun.
of our listeners who own horses and who are horse people, maybe they can help out. So
that'd be great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
My guest today has been Major Dwayne Durham from the Salvation Army. Homepage is presented as a public affairs feature of 93.7 K Country and Wind FM, 92.5, 95.5, and 107.9. We welcome your comments. Please email me. Our email address is homepage@ncfmgroup.com. You can listen to Homepage by going to our websites, 93.7kcountry.com or windfm.com. I'm Kathy Dugan. Looking forward to you joining us next Sunday for Homepage.